I think if there's one thing to take away from what we heard from Theresa May over the weekend is that she wants to keep her party happy. That will probably mean curbing immigration and giving up free access to the single market.
Yeah, absolutely, Francine. She does want to keep the party happy, so much so that she had to start out her address justifying the need to trigger Article 50 at all. And we also heard that from David Davis. She was clearly trying to appeal to people here in the room. And she got a standing ovation. There was lots of applause, lots of people very pleased with what they heard. Business, on the other hand, not very pleased. The CBI, the Confederation of Business in British Industry, saying the government's desire to play its negotiating cards close to its chest must be tempered by clear indications of trade policy, and right now we don't really have any clue about where we're going. We know the timing and the process, but not the destination.
What are we hearing from Philip Hammond? We were talking a lot, Anna. He's due to give a speech. Of course, we were hoping that he would put fiscal policy in place. So Philip Hammond just talking now, the Chancellor there at the Tory party conference. But we were hoping to have much more from him on fiscal. This now has taken a step back.
Yeah, indeed. People looking for him for any clues as to what cushion the Treasury can provide for the UK economy, should it need one. We had, of course, manufacturing data earlier on today that was better than expected. But even Philip Hammond himself saying, yes, that's great, but we have to see what happens when Article 50 is triggered and further down the line when we see more detail of the negotiations. But really what is a mystery to business here, Francine, is what the end destination is going to look like. Theresa May and her team refuse to recognise what they call a false dichotomy between access to the single market and rules around immigration. They won't put them together, even if the rest of the 27 members of the EU will. They want to lump them together. The people here in this building, they don't want to put those two things together.
And I understand she's playing to a domestic audience. Who is she playing to in Europe? I can't figure out who Prime Minister May is speaking to.
Well, the timing is interesting, isn't it, Tom? Because obviously triggering before March, the end of March 2017, means that this will come before any of the big votes that take place in Europe. Many people have suggested, including George Osborne, the former Chancellor, had suggested we need to wait and to find out who's going to lead France, who's going to lead Germany and others. So that's certainly been one of the considerations. We have heard a little bit from Europe. They've said, Jean-Claude Juncker just this morning, saying that Europe welcomes the news, but obviously there's no pre-negotiation, so no talks can actually start until Article 50 is triggered, and that remains 6 months or so away.
Right. Anna, within your reading, let me use an American phrase here, how long does the honeymoon last for Prime Minister May?
Well, I guess it depends how long they manage to keep quiet about where the destination is. Right now, it feels like the UK economy is behind the wheel of a car. It has an idea of how fast it's going to be going. It knows how to drive that car, but the sat-nav is taking the car in a direction that maybe the driver isn't aware of. So we don't really know where we're heading. For as long as they can keep towing that line and not really giving business any clues, we just have to wait and see how long business investment holds up in that environment. The Treasury telling me this morning, look, we're listening to business, we're listening to the banks, we hear them on passporting, we hear that they want access to the single markets, but right now they're not making any pledges to continue that as any kind of reality post-Brexit.